starting from the feet and moving up to the face. Here's how you can literally read people. First, the feet. Here's the deal. Feet point where the mind wants to go. If someone's talking to you but their feet are pointed toward the door, guess what? Their brain is already halfway out of there. But if their feet is pointed right at you, that's a good sign. It means they are engaged and interested. It's like their feet are little compasses pointing to what they really care about. Now, let's talk about legs. Crossed legs might seem like no big deal, but they can actually tell you a lot. If someone's sitting with their legs crossed toward you, it's a sign they're open and comfortable. But if their legs are crossed away from you, that's a subtle hint they might be feeling defensive or closed off. And if they're bouncing their leg like they're auditioning for a drum solo, that's a classic discomfort cue. Stress, impatience, or just plain nervous energy. There's also gravity-defying feet. When someone's sitting down and their feet suddenly go up onto their toes, like they're wearing invisible high heels, it's a sign they're excited or happy. Next, we're diving into the torso, the core of emotions. Trust me, it's just as fascinating. Think of the torso as the command center for how someone's really feeling. It's not as flashy as the face or as chatty as the hands, but oh boy, does it have a lot to say. First up, leaning in versus leaning away. This one's a no-brainer. If someone's leaning toward you during a conversation, it's a clear sign they're interested and engaged. They're literally drawn to you. But if they're leaning back or creating distance, that's a subtle hint they might be checking out, either mentally, emotionally, or both. It's like their body is saying, I need some space, even if their words are saying otherwise. Now let's talk about chest puffing. You've probably seen this one before. Someone standing tall, chest out, like they're trying to take up as much space as possible. This is a classic power move. It screams confidence or sometimes overconfidence. On the flip side, if someone's slouching or hunching over, it's often a sign of low energy, insecurity, or just trying to make themselves smaller. Here's another big one, barrier signals. Ever notice how someone might cross their arms, hold a bag in front of them, or even turn their body slightly away during a conversation? These are all ways the torso creates a shield when someone's feeling uncomfortable or defensive. It's like their body is putting up a little do not disturb sign. Oh, and let's not forget about breathing. Yes, breathing. When someone's stressed or anxious, you might notice their breathing becomes shallow or rapid. On the other hand, deep, steady breaths usually signal calm and confidence. It's like their torso is giving you a live update on their emotional state. Next up, we're diving into the hands, the most expressive part of the body. Trust me, you're gonna love this one. If the feet are the truth tellers, the hands are the poets. They're constantly moving, gesturing, and revealing what's really going on inside someone's head. And the best part? They're hard to control, which means they're often spilling secrets without us even realizing it. First up, gestures. Hands are like the exclamation points of body language. When someone's excited or passionate, their hands are all over the place, pointing, waving, emphasizing every word. But if their hands are still or tucked away, that's a sign they might be holding back, either because they're nervous, disinterested, or just not fully engaged. Now, let's talk about pacifying behaviors. These are the little things people do with their hands when they're feeling stressed or uncomfortable. Think rubbing their neck, playing with their hair, or fidgeting with a ring. These are like self-soothing mechanisms, ways to calm themselves down when they're feeling uneasy. If you see someone doing this, it's a subtle clue they might be feeling out of their comfort zone. They could be stressed about lying, for example. Here's a fun one. Steeple hands. You've probably seen this before. Someone bringing their fingertips together to form a little steeple. This is a classic confidence cue. It's like their hands are saying, I've got this. But if their hands are clenched into fists, that's a whole different story. Clenched fists can signal tension, frustration, or even anger. Oh, and let's not forget about handshakes. A firm handshake is usually a sign of confidence and respect, while a limp one can come across as disinterested or insecure. But also, the duration of the handshake matters too. Too short and it might feel dismissive. Too long and it can get awkward real fast. And then there's touching. When someone touches their face, like rubbing their chin or covering their mouth, it can be a sign they're thinking hard or maybe even holding something back. On the other hand, if they're touching you, like a light pat on the back or a touch on the arm, it's usually a sign of warmth and connection. But here's the thing, hands can also contradict what someone's saying. For example, if someone's telling you they're excited but their hands are clenched or hidden, their body might be saying something their words aren't. That's why it's so important to pay attention to what the hands are doing. They're like a backstage pass to someone's true feelings. Next up, we're diving into the face, the most complex and sometimes deceptive part of body language. Trust me, it's gonna be good. The face is crazy expressive. It can show happiness, sadness, anger, surprise, and everything in between. But here's the catch, it's also the most deceptive. Why? Because we've spent our whole lives learning how to control it. We smile when we're nervous, nod when we're bored, and keep a straight face when we're freaking out inside. Our faces are like professional actors. They can play any role we need them to. But don't worry, there are still ways to see past the performance. If you know what to look for, you can catch those little moments of truth that slip through. Let's start with the eyes because, honestly, they're the star of facial expressions. Eye contact. This is a big one. If someone's holding steady eye contact, it's usually a sign they're engaged and confident. But if they're avoiding eye contact or looking away a lot, it could mean they're nervous, distracted, or even hiding something. That said, context matters. Some people naturally avoid eye contact because they're shy or introverted, so don't jump to conclusions too quickly. Pupil dilation. Here's a sneaky one. Pupils dilate when someone's interested, excited, or attracted to something, or someone. It's totally involuntary, so it's a great clue. On the flip side, if their pupils are small, it could mean they're bored or uninterested. Blinking. Pay attention to how fast or slow someone's blinking. Rapid blinking can be a sign of stress or discomfort. Think of someone who's lying or feeling anxious. Slow, deliberate blinking, on the other hand, can signal relaxation or even flirtation. Gaze direction. Where someone looks can also tell you a lot. If they're looking to the side a lot, they might be processing information or feeling unsure. If they're staring off into space, they could be daydreaming or disengaged. Next up, the mouth. It's one of the most expressive parts of the face, but it's also the most controlled. We all know how to fake a smile, right? But even fake smiles have tells. A real smile involves the whole face, especially the eyes. You'll see crow's feet, a sparkle in their eyes, and their cheeks will lift. A fake smile, it's all lips, no eyes. It's like their mouth is saying, I'm happy, but their face is saying, not really. Lip compression. When someone presses their lips together, it's often a sign they're holding back, whether it's anger, frustration, or something they don't want to say. It's like their mouth is on lockdown. Lip biting or licking. This can signal nervousness or even attraction, depending on the context. If someone's biting their lip while talking to you, they might be feeling a little anxious, or maybe they're just really into the conversation. Next, we have the eyebrows. They are like the exclamation points of the face. They're super expressive and can tell you a lot about someone's emotions. Raised eyebrows. This can signal surprise, interest, or even fear. If someone's eyebrows shoot up when you tell them something, they're probably genuinely surprised. Furrowed brows. When someone's eyebrows pull together, it usually means they're confused, concerned, or concentrating hard on something. Next is the jaw. It's a great indicator of stress or frustration. Clenched jaw. If someone's clenching their jaw or grinding their teeth, it's a clear sign they're feeling tense or angry. Relaxed jaw. A relaxed jaw usually means they're at ease. Last but not least in the face, we have micro-expression. Micro-expressions are tiny, involuntary facial expressions that last less than a second. They're like little flashes of truth that slip through when someone's trying to hide their emotions. For example, a quick flash of anger, like having the brows down and lips tight. A fleeting look of disgust, like having the nose wrinkled and upper lip raised. A momentary expression of fear, like having the eyes wide and mouth slightly open. Catching these takes practice, but once you start noticing them, it's like having X-ray vision for emotions. So now that we've broken down everything, let me give you some final tips so you don't mess it up. First rule of thumb, context is everything. Let's say you see someone tapping their foot. Are they impatient, nervous, or maybe they just really love the song playing in the background? The meaning changes depending on what's happening around them. So, before you jump to conclusions, take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Clusters. Body language isn't a one gesture fits all kind of deal. It's about patterns. If someone's tapping their foot and checking their watch and sighing loudly, okay, now you've got a cluster that screams, I'm impatient. But if they're tapping their foot while smiling and nodding along to a conversation, totally different vibe. Clusters are your best friend for getting the full story. Oh, and don't forget about baseline behavior. Everyone has their own normal. Maybe your coworker always talks with their hands. That's just how they roll. But if they suddenly go still and start avoiding eye contact, that's a clue something's up. Paying attention to how someone usually acts helps you spot when something's off. The key is to notice when they deviate from their baseline.